Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is officially time for episode 3 of the Third Gen Cast. How are you wonderful people doing? My name is Michael, is known as ThirdGenGamer. Welcome to the podcast. Well, let's just say today is going to be spicy because the last week itself there's a lot to talk about. Of course, this podcast is actually going to be a little bit shorter just because I kind of got a little late on recording this, as well as I'm a college student, so I have homework I need to do that I pushed off because of everything that happened this week. And also, let's just say before we actually get started, though, I want to let you know that I actually have some new merch on the merch store, ThirdGenGamer, Teespring merch store. I have a new ThirdGenCast coffee mug, and soon we'll have a shirt available. So anyways, if you're watching the video version on YouTube, this is what it looks like. Basically, a nice white mug with the ThirdGenCast logo right on here. Looks absolutely amazing. And I think the price is rather decent considering Teespring standards. And so if you want to grab yourself a ThirdGenCast mug, be sure to go check out the Teespring. So I'm going to put that back. And now let's actually get into the topic. So what has happened in the last week that I just want to talk about? And it's all finance stuff, okay? So there's not going to be a whole lot of Pokemon or other tech stuff as of right now. But the stock market's gone crazy. And this last week is going to be in the record books. No question. In history, I feel like this will be in a history textbook 30 years from now. Maybe even sooner than that, to be honest with you. But what happened was retail investors like me and many other people went up against Wall Street. And let's just say Wall Street has these things called hedge funds, which mean that they are basically putting money into this fund. And how it works is that they expect the stock that they want to short. They expect it to drop in price. And then at that point, that's when they buy in. So essentially, it was a big options play. I know we didn't really talk about options as much in the latest podcast, but options, it's one of those things where it's like, if you get it right, you'll make a lot of money. And if you get it wrong, you lose a lot of money. And basically what these hedge funds were doing is that they were borrowing stocks and then putting a bid on it saying, hey, this stock is going to go down to $2 a share. And then basically, if that stock goes all the way down or lower, they make a profit based on the stock price. And let's say if the stock price goes up instead of going down, they lose money. And in fact, there is no price floor for a short call. So essentially what happens is that I think a short call, I'm pretty sure short call, let's say it's a short. They basically, let's say instead of it going down, let's say, for example, GameStop was a big one the last week and a half. I think I mentioned GameStop at least at some point in this podcast, and I had no idea what was going on. But essentially, these hedge funds are saying when GameStop was at $10 a share, they're saying, hey, it's going to drop all the way down to $4 a share. And guess what? People on Reddit saw what these hedge funds were doing, because if they keep driving down the price, it basically puts these companies at risk to either go out of business or lose tons of money. So basically this Reddit page called WallStreetBets, I mean, if you want to go check it out, feel free to do so. I mean, there's some questionable posts on there, not anything necessarily inappropriate, but the language they use and all this stuff, it's a little bit much. But there's basically a page with 2 million people. I think there's more now. I think it started at about 2 million before everything started going crazy. 2 million people were like, hey, you know what? We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let the stock price go down. So instead of these big hedge funds, which they can manipulate the price, forcing people to sell and scare them, what they do is that with other hedge funds, they can trade with each other. And then they say, oh, I'm going to sell it for $10 or for $3 cheaper. You get to buy it for $3 cheaper or whatever. And then basically what that does is drops down the price, even though that doesn't actually affect the actual stock price itself, but it manipulates it for the time being, and people get scared because the price is falling, that they just sell it all. And then basically that there's left are these hedge fund bets. And yeah, let's just say that Wall Street bets with GameStop, they didn't let it happen. they all went in and bought tons of GameStop. And throughout the last probably week and a half, really, that stock price was just climbing. And it wasn't until earlier this week that I realized what was going on. And of course, there's a lot of people at that point that started to realize what was going on, is that people were raising the prices because these shorts have a way of expiring, which means that at a certain time, if the stock doesn't fall to that price, they have to pay out their losses. And let's just say a lot of these shorts were expiring as people were buying them up. And basically what happened was that they had to pay out all that money they lost. In fact, I don't know if it was all stocks entirely that were shorted by these companies that WallStreetBets was a part of, because it wasn't just GameStop. It was GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry. There was like a list of like 20, 25 stocks that companies were shorting, and people were just buying in to stop these shorts from happening. I think it was collectively about $70 billion in this month that these hedge funds lost. I think it was like Citadel, and then there was like another one too that was really big that I believe backed out of GameStop because of the fact that people started buying up and they started losing billions upon billions of dollars in 1 week. And when they pay out all this money, it just absolutely raises the stock price by an exponential amount. And it's insane. And next thing you know, then there's more short fund or hedge funds are like, hey, that's not natural. It's going to go down. And the next thing you know, they do their little manipulation thing, trying to drive down the price. People just go and buy in anyways, and it goes back up, and then it goes and soars. And then next thing you know it, they end up, their options or their shorts expired. Then realize they're at a much of a loss because the stock kept going up. They end up having to pay out their losses, and then the stock kept growing. And it's just absolutely insane. I think at one point it broke it was like $420, which is just insane. I think I'm wrong on that, but it was like 400. Then it kind of leveled off a bit at 350. So yeah, it wasn't just GameStop, it was a lot of other companies too. And anyways, this week was a big one because a lot of shorts happened and a lot of people got involved, including me. I bought into GameStop today. And I'm not necessarily profitable, but I was like, you know what? I'm joining in for the cause. Bought one share of GameStop, bought tons of shares of AMC when it was down at $4 a share. I bought some BlackBerry, I bought some Nokia, and really all the ones I have right now are at a loss as of right now because these options haven't been paid out yet that just expired today. Because yeah, today was like a big day where all these just expired and everyone's like, just hold it, don't sell. Because yeah, they'll just raise the price next week, or at least to some extent. I don't know how much for a lot of these stocks. I don't know how to calculate that, but from what I understand, a lot of these stocks that I bought into are going to be going up because a lot of these firms didn't cover their shorts. And it was rather insane. And also, not only it was amazing because we had so many people buy in to this thing and just absolutely destroy these hedge funds. Because really, these hedge funds really don't do anyone any good. They're, instead of being positive in the stock market, like, hey, this company's going to go up, buy them. And then there's another option. It's a long, where you go long. It's where you expect the price to go up. In fact, there are people that bet against these firms and actually went long, which is very risky because if something were to go wrong, they would lose tons of money. But they all went long. And well, to be fair, though, I mean, with long calls, it's because how it works is that you can back out of a long call, just that you have to pay out a premium, which, I mean, to put it in a more of a layman's terms, it's like when in these options, in long situations, how it works is that you say, hey, the stock's going to go up, and you're basically giving money to the shorts, the people that actually are the opposite, that think they're going to go down, but that gives you the option whether or not you want to exercise or you want to, it should be exercise, meaning that you let it go through, or you can pull out, and then these short people like they're midgets. No, just like the short fund people get that premium, and then all the short people receive the premium, but they cannot back out. So that's where the dangerous thing is, at least for these hedge funds, because when people were buying up these stocks while they were shorting each stock, they can't back out. So at least to my knowledge, from what I've learned in my own finance investment courses, I don't know if there's any loopholes. I don't think so, but they got into a bit of trouble, and it can be a little bit dangerous because you still could lose a lot of money going long. But yeah, no, people were challenging these hedge funds and people were winning. And you can see there's tweets all over the place. People will say, oh, I can't believe it. I mean, some people already had a lot of money to begin with, and they actually show these screenshots. Oh, I made $300,000. Oh, I made $1 million, just like stuff like that, which is just really, really cool. You love to see it, that the people are taking the money away from these hedge funds because they are just filthy, wealthy, like firms. And I just don't like it. I don't like the idea of, hey, I expect this stock to go down. Screw your company. I want to make money off of your demise, and everyone agrees with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going short, I guess, but it's to that point where at this point, I would never short a stock. I never feel like that's a great idea, especially now with WallStreetBets going in and challenging these shorts. A lot of people are losing money. So if you're into options, do not short. Do not, especially at this time right now. Maybe at some point, there's going to be some law or legislation that might save people who do shorts. I don't know if that could be a thing. I don't know. I guess I'm not a legal expert. And it's just rather crazy what just happened. And another thing that was rather interesting was that a lot of these brokers really exposed how corrupt Wall Street is. Because, I mean, if you follow my Twitter, ThirdGenGamer_, I was not happy on Twitter the last couple days because Robinhood, which is the stock holding app that I use, that I'm actually going to be getting out of very soon because they're doing some very shady stuff. Not only, like, I learned more about their company, and what they do is that they sell their buy and sell contracts to other firms, and that happens to be one of them is the hedge fund, Citadel, which is one of the biggest ones trying to short all these stocks right now. And Robinhood, I feel like, was just trying to save their company, though I feel like they're going to go under. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of people that hate Robinhood right now. But it's crazy because what they did the last couple of days, not only did they freeze people buying these hot stocks, which legally they're supposed to do, or at least they can do that. They're not supposed to, but they can do that. But what they did was freeze all transactions entirely for all these stocks. And essentially how it worked was that you couldn't buy any more stocks. And literally the only option on their site was, hey, you can't even find the price on these stocks anymore. You cannot look up the stock on my page, on our website, but if you still have them, there's only a little button that says sell. And then they say stuff like you cannot purchase any more shares. All you can do is sell. So they're telling people, hey, you should sell. And everyone's like, no, hold it. And then, of course, because nobody's buying, these gigantic hedge funds were selling to each other at low prices in order to manipulate the stock to bring it down, trying to scare people. Luckily, everyone, for the most part, I'm sure there's some people that got scared and backed out, but for the most part, everyone stayed intact and everyone held and the stock never dropped. And AMC, probably my biggest one out of all these, I put more money into AMC, not only because it was cheaper, so it'd be easier to double cash and plus many more. I mean, okay, yeah, you could buy into GameStop like I did. I think it was $3.50 a share when I bought in. I think I'm still technically at a loss right now, but if it does continue to go up, then I'll be profitable. But it takes a lot more to double your revenue, or at least your investment, when it's a big stock. Like, for example, if you have AMC, I bought in at about 4, and then I added a little more over time. It was a gradual. I think I averaged at about $8 a share in the end. And yeah, so that means every single time the stock goes up $8, it doubles my investment. So I'd say that's a pretty big deal versus if you buy GameStop right now, it has to take $350 to double your investment. So yeah, I mean, there's some people that are like, hey, only buy GameStop because that is the number one target. But no, all these other stocks, if they all do take off because of all these short contracts being sold and they have to pay out all their losses, it's gonna be crazy next week. Absolutely crazy. And then I also saw something on Reddit, on WallStreetBets. They said that the shorts still haven't given up on AMC yet. So now there might be even more of a battle with AMC next week. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, if that becomes another couple $100 stock, oh goodness, I will be very ecstatic. That's for sure. Very ecstatic. Of course, when you do stuff like this, you can risk losing it all. Okay. It's not like it's guaranteed that everything's going to work out. I'm going to be profitable. I'd say in probably most situations, since I did buy into separate things, there are some things I'm probably going to lose money on, or I'll lose money on everything. I don't know. But all I did was that I didn't take my entire amount in Robinhood and put it into these stocks. That is not a smart thing to do. If you're going to do something like this, you have to put in money that you're willing to lose into these stocks. And if you lose it, it's like, oh, that sucks. I mean, you hate losing money, but you don't want to lose all of your money. And I saw there were a lot of people that said, oh, I just put in my father's $20,000 savings into this. And I'm just like, oh gosh. Oh boy, that is not a good idea. That is an absolutely terrible idea. Because absolutely, if something goes wrong, that savings is gone. You don't get it back. I mean, I guess over time when he makes more money, but still, that's $20,000 down the drain. People have to understand that, of course, it's like, go on and buy. You have to buy cautiously. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably buy a little bit more next week of AMC if it does end up being the case that we're going to get challenged by these hedge funds again. But yeah, no, I'm just going to say that I'm actually going to try backing out of Robinhood, and I'm actually going to be opening up a Webull account, which, by the way, this was also a broker that actually did shut down the transactions for AMC and all these other stocks. But then they saw this backlash from all these Robinhood traders or these stock people or investors, and they decided to reverse it because they're like, I don't want this. Because, yeah, Robinhood is facing many class lawsuits right now. Whether it's just there's so many right now. And also the SEC just came out and they kind of defended Robinhood, which that's actually kind of scary in a way. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it seemed pretty generic, their answer, but they said everything they did to mitigate risk, which, yeah, of course, if you're buying a stock, of course, there's always going to be risk. And you as a person should have the ability to choose whether you want to do a high risk investment or a low risk investment. That's it. That's my opinion, at least. And yeah, the SEC said that they had the right to do that. And I'm just like, well, where is this going to be headed next week then? Because a lot of these other places, now that they see that, they're like, oh, maybe since it's legal, I mean, we can make sure that we don't, lose money. And so we'll just, we'll restrict everything again. Because the SEC said that. I don't know. It's next week is going to be rather interesting. Hopefully, stuff like that doesn't affect everything that's going on with WallStreetBets. And worst case scenario, let's say it does. If you're buying into all these stocks, hold. Do not sell. Do not sell. Because if you cannot buy, they want you to sell. So just do not sell. I mean, of course, at some point, it's like, okay, you got to take profits. But I would say if you're going to do something like this, I would personally, what I would do is if, let's say, a stock just goes up like crazy, okay, just like ridiculous amounts from what happened here on Friday after all these contracts expired, these people have to pay out all this money to all these stocks. I would personally, if I felt like it was the time, I would pull out only a partial, not necessarily partial shares, but like just a little bit of all the shares that I have and make sure I have something sold that I have that's profitable, and then keep the rest in, see what happens. I mean, eventually there's that point where it's like, okay, I might as well just sell everything. But for something like this, if you're going to take profits, do not take your whole thing out, right? At least right away. Because yeah, I mean, at least have some money, at least to cover, let's say if everything goes down the tank, you have the money to, let's say, I guess, yeah, just make sure that you can just minimize your losses and make sure you get at least your original investment back, and plus a little more, just because you put your money into it. So at least get a little bit to the side and just let the other stuff in there and just let it soar. And because I know that I can guarantee you that if everything's bought, everything, if you can buy next week, what's going to happen is whatever you sell, people will buy. It's like no question. People are going to buy it. So I would not sell everything. Not only what I didn't put all my eggs in one basket, I put it all to different companies, but I'm not going to be taking it all out at once when I'm all said and done. I guess to be fair, if let's say I want to get out of Robinhood, then I probably could try to move it. I don't know. That'd still be a little bit sketch. because it would be hard, because Robinhood would, unless you could transfer shares, I think you might be able to transfer shares from one broker to another if you have another account in another firm or another stock trader or whatever, broker or whatever. I think there is a way you can do that. So maybe you don't have to sell and you can get it transferred over. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into it myself. I mean, I am just that finance college student, and I'm learning as I go, like as everyone else. I'm not any expert. So anyways, don't be basing all of your decisions based on what I have to say, because I'm not a financial analyst, or I'm not someone that's able to properly give you the informed decision to do whatever you want. I bought these stocks because I wanted to challenge those hedge funds, and also I do like the stocks that I bought. So, yeah, it's honestly really crazy what happened this week, because it's not only I felt like, I mean, this is more of just something that I noticed. I felt like there was like some unity that happened in this country. Like, I'm not going to be talking a whole lot. I'm not going to be talking politics, and I don't really like, but it's just crazy because you know how polarizing all politics are here in the United States. There's the left, and then there's the right, and then, you know, they have all the different subsections of each one. And, you know, they've always been clashing, especially in the election year and all this stuff. And it was interesting because everyone had the same common goal, and everyone unified to take down Wall Street, or at least these hedge funds. And I feel like that's actually insane. Who would have thought? Like on Twitter, I saw Ted Cruz and AOC, both completely different political beliefs, actually came together to agree on something. And there's other examples too, and it's just absolutely insane. I mean, if the SEC does something sketchy, I feel like if there's enough people in our public offices, they might be able to do something that could really help us out, or they could do a lot of worse. I mean, we don't really know how far, because there's a lot of corruption. All right, like you already know, like exactly what happened with these hedge funds and all this stuff. All it took was just a bunch of people to challenge all these hedge funds and just Wall Street in general. And next thing you know, it's like, oh well, we could do this to screw over all the retail investors. And it's like, and then there's like no repercussions or anything that has easily, or at least has been done ever since this stuff started happening. Granted, it was only a couple days ago, but still, it's like there's nothing set in place, and they easily can take advantage of regular people like us when we finally have the upper hand on these wealthy elites that have so much money, and they feel like they have control over everything. And honestly, money is power. Money is power. And these guys have so much money, and obviously Citadel obviously affected Robinhood, because they're like, oh, well, if you let them buy AMC, GameStop, and all this stuff, I guess our contract for our services will no longer be available for you, or stuff like that. Like, I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. I'm just saying, like, hypothetical stuff. I mean, the money's there, and obviously they don't want to lose money. And I mean, Robinhood, I think, is screwed. And I mean, what they did this entire time, everything they've done this, like in the last 3 days or so, to restrict people from buying stuff, they ruined their reputation. They're done. I mean, there was, they actually just got a $1 billion loan. I don't know if it was to necessarily facilitate all the trades that were happening that we wanted. But at the same time, though, this morning on Friday, they said, hey, you can buy these stocks again, but you can only buy a certain amount of them. And throughout the day, that number kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was ridiculous. I couldn't, like, at one point it was like, oh, you could only buy one share of AMC and then one share of GameStop, or there was like 10 shares of Nokia. And it's just like, it was so ridiculous. And talk about market manipulation. Like, seriously, that was just unbelievable. But really, it's scummy that they did this. I mean, if there's no one to stop them, I guess they could do whatever they want. It's technically legal. Is it ethical? No. But is it legal? Technically, yes. If there's no one to stop them and there's no laws there to stop that kind of stuff, because the free, we have a free market. At least we think we have a free market, you know? And all this stuff that's happened, it kind of just shows like, hey, maybe we don't have as free of a market as we once thought, you know? Because all it took was just all of us to just cause this uprising against Wall Street and the hedge funds. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, you can't buy this stock anymore. You can only sell it. And it's just amazing. And Robinhood, I'm done with them. Like I said, I am going to be switching to Webull, which is another commission-free trading. And like I said, they did restrict trading for some stocks initially, and then they end up reversing that. But also there's another one, actually my siblings are going to be hopping onto from Robinhood, which was Fidelity. I don't know much about them, but I don't know. I guess that's another option if people are looking for another stock app to get out of the Robinhood. And yeah, no, I mean, let's say, for example, everyone backs out of Robinhood, or at least the majority of people, they're not going to survive. And that actually makes me a little bit nervous because, yeah, I'm pulling out my money, but I also have crypto in there and I don't have a solution for crypto yet. I'm not sure if I have to get a Bitcoin wallet or something, or if there's a certain website I can go to actually buy and then just keep it on the website or whatever. I don't know. But as of right now, I don't have any way of keeping my Bitcoin. If they were to shut down, then I would lose all my Bitcoin. And it's interesting because when you invest, you have an insurance. Like, I don't know what the number is, what it's up to, but what it is that if a company like a broker goes down, then you're covered by this insurance and people get paid out. Who knows how long that would take if, let's say, Robinhood were to get taken out. But cryptocurrency is not backed by that. So I need to find another solution quick because a lot of people are planning on getting out of Robinhood. And yeah, I won't be able to secure the money that I have for Bitcoin or Ethereum if it's stuck in Robinhood and for some reason they shut down. I don't get that money. I lose that money. It's not insured. So it's a lot of different things to, keep in mind. But no, I'm more than happy to get out of Robinhood just to stick it to the man. I've been watching, I watched School of Rock the other night, which is a movie with Jack Black. And anyways, he pretends he's a substitute teacher, even though he's like a rocker. And then he's teaching these kids how to, they basically is creating a band with these these 10-year-old kids. And then they go and compete for the Battle of the Bands. Anyways, just sticking it to the man. I used that in one of my tweets because I watched School of Rock. And yeah, no, that was such a good movie. I know there's some people that really like it and some people that just really don't like it. But Jack Black was he was like in his wheelhouse in that movie. It was really good. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Yeah. So yeah, if it meant like, for example, if let's say, if I had to back out of there, and I know that Robinhood's a very convenient app, and they make things really easy to buy and sell stuff versus Webull looks a little more complicated, at least from what I saw. I mean, I'll probably be fine, but for the standard person that's looking at that, it'd be a little bit intimidating. I'd easily get my money out just to be like, hey, I don't support what you just did to me and probably millions of other people. So I'm pulling out. And yeah, I actually sold on my stock. And I'm going to be withdrawing it in a couple days. It takes a couple days for them to make it readily available for you to pull it out and then send it to your bank. And then I'm going to move it from Robinhood to Webull once I get my verification or approval for the account. It was like, I don't know. It's like you have to do some audit. I had to do an application, take a picture of my license and all that other stuff. With Webull, then it has to go through this process. Once it's available, I'm definitely moving my money over there. And yeah, I don't know. As far as the stock market's concerned, it wasn't just the hedge funds and stuff that was reacting today and the last couple days. For the whole market as a whole has gone down. And I don't know if it's because of the instability in the market and all it took was a big event like this to start to kind of make it so that it causes people to sell, or if it's because people in hedge funds wanting to pay stuff out, they have to sell their other stocks to have money to give out. I don't know. I guess I'm not 100% sure. Are people just scared that's going to happen? So honestly, I pulled out all my stocks at the right time. And yeah, I'll have to pay capital gains taxes. I don't know, based on my income bracket, which is probably the bottom one because I'm a college student. I don't make that much money. It's going to be, I probably won't get taxed as much as typical people that have a salary, have a job. And also, there's a difference with how much you have to pay in capital gains taxes when you sell your stocks. It depends on if you have a long-term investment or a short-term. Short-term, you actually get taxed more than long-term. So if you keep things for over a year, which I believe is considered long-term, you do end up not having as many capital gains taxes. So anyways, that was 30 minutes of talking about this stuff. I mean, I feel like it was a little bit all over the place, but there's just a lot to talk about. And I'm trying to condense this into a shorter period of time. And obviously, if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I will definitely be answering your questions. And yeah, I will talk about this further next week. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. We'll have a whole segment on this, probably, and it's going to be exciting. I mean, I saw so many people on Twitter. Like, it wasn't just like, it was Twitter, Reddit, and other places. I've seen people say, hold, everyone worked together, which is just insane. And it's crazy how a group of people, like a huge group of people, can really make an impact. It's just really, really cool. Okay. So that was a half hour. Goodness gracious. I didn't feel like it, but it's a rather interesting topic. And of course, I'm not someone that knows every single piece of information. So, I mean, if I got some things wrong, I apologize. But I'm just trying my best because I've been a part of this thing for the last week. From what I know myself, I'm trying to let you guys know to be informed. Because let's say, oh, I want to join in the cause, then definitely feel free to do so. I mean, I'm not telling you to do so, but that's only if you want to. Then, feel free to do so. But what else? Oh, Dogecoin. Oh my goodness. Dogecoin has gone up like mad. It's insane. Dogecoin, the last couple days has been around a penny. Okay. Last couple days has been a penny. And yesterday on Thursday in the evening, it went all the way from 1 penny all the way to 8 pennies, 8 times the original amount. So if you bought in at 1 penny, you made 8 times the amount of money, which is just crazy. I actually bought in on Dogecoin at about 4 cents. And then I made some profit there. And then I tried to buy more. And then, of course, Robinhood decided to screw things up. And I couldn't buy, or at least I tried placing orders. It would air out. And then next thing you know, an hour later, when things started working again on Robinhood, they all went through. And for some reason, the price of the Dogecoin was at 6 pennies when I tried to place those orders. And it was at 6 pennies by the time everything was working again. Those orders went in. It's not just one, but the ones that failed ended up going through, and it was at 8 pennies. So if you want to know anything about that information, so I bought it at 4, I bought some at 8. Essentially what happened was that my average cost ended up going from 4 to like 6 pennies. And now to this day, or to this point, Dogecoin actually dropped. And if Robinhood didn't process those orders because it said it failed and also put it at the right amount, I would not be at a loss right now. So yeah, another reason to be mad at Robinhood. And I'm sure a lot of people got screwed over by that. I just happened to be one of them that did. And yeah, no, I was very irritated. It made me put more money into Dogecoin than I actually wanted to put in Dogecoin. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to leave it in there, see what happens. And obviously, naturally, today it went down. And yeah, it kind of sucked. But it didn't go down as bad as I thought it would if it were to go down. So, I mean, hey, you never know. Maybe for some reason, it might take off again. And I will be back in the positive. I'll be back in the green with that stuff, which would be really cool. But there's a lot of people on on Twitter and Reddit and all this. Like, my sources are Twitter and Reddit, and people are saying Dogecoin to the moon. And then there's like people are like, screw that. Dogecoin to Mars, and it's like, oh goodness. So we'll see how far it gets. I don't know. Considering that Dogecoin supply cap, I actually looked more into it. It does have a cap, but the cap is so ridiculous that I feel like the price will never ever go up to a substantial amount of value. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. I guess you never know, which is why I'm going to keep it and see what happens. But it's just a Dogecoin of all things, man. It also went up. So that was also during the time when Robinhood wouldn't let you buy any other stocks. People are like, screw it, I'll just put it into Dogecoin then. And then that's what happened when it, soared. So yeah, it's just the last week in the financial world, and really for everyone's been crazy. I mean, I feel like to some extent people knew what was going on because the news talked about it. I saw a lot of news media outlets flip-flopping, and I was just like, okay, come on. I mean, it's just insane that, some people are like, oh, this is awful. You're going to get in trouble because you're manipulating the stock, which is not true. But it's technically not true because we're all buying it and we want the stock. It isn't like what these hedge funds were doing when they were manipulating the price by setting stocks to each other at cheaper amounts so it could drive down the price. That's true manipulation. But yeah, no, it's just crazy. Everything that happened, it just exposed a lot. And it was just from a couple million people on Reddit just sticking it to these hedge funds. It's crazy. Really as a whole, as a people, we are powerful and we're together. That's just something to keep in mind. It definitely is. So I'm going to keep this podcast rather short because I have to go through and edit the audio, fix it, whatever. And yeah, this one will be rather short. And I don't know exactly how long lengths are going to be because I feel like an hour. That sometimes maybe I just won't have a time limit. And if I have a certain topic I want to talk about or a set of topics, I'll just talk until I'm done. But as of right now, I really don't have time to actually, keep going because I have homework I got to do for college and also have to get the editing done for the audio here. Oh, and also, not only have to get the homework done before Sunday, I actually have another recording session with Jacob for my newest Pokemon Black and White Advanced Versus series with him. And if you guys don't know what that is, Pokemon Black and White, we do a Nuzlocke. You only can catch the first Pokemon in each route. If a Pokemon dies, it's considered dead and you can't use it anymore. Then we added rules like, hey, we cannot heal in battle. Set mode, which means you can't switch in between Pokemon because usually it tells you when you knock out a Pokemon, oh, they're going to send out this one. Do you want to switch? It's like we're mind readers or something. No, we're doing set mode, so you can't do that. And then we also have level caps. So our Pokemon can't be at a certain level, or at least past a certain level until you get a certain gym badge. So it's been a really fun series. I've recorded a lot with Jacob already, and more will be coming up very soon as we do plan on uploading 3 a week. So yeah, it's exciting. It's been a while since I've done a video series. I've done tons of live streams on my YouTube channel, but I've never done. I'm not saying never, but at least in 2021 and over the last 6 or 7 months, I have not done a video series. So it feels good to be back at it, and yeah. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure, if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that bell icon for notifications whenever I upload. As well as if you're listening on a podcast, be sure to follow me on whatever preferred podcast platform, whatever you're on. As well as I believe if you're on Apple, you can rate the podcast. I'd be appreciated if you can rate this 5 stars. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'll see you all next week. Peace.